Welcome to The Third Act, an educational podcast for entertaining audiences like you.
Theater for the middle class. I'm your wife host, Gracious.
And I'm your husband host, Jared. We're glad you're here.
Woohoo!
You said that super serious. My name is Gracious.
I'm trying to work on my low voice.
Ooh,
Yeah.
got you.
Gotta have some bass
Work on the
in
bass.
that voice. Yeah.
Can I say something about our introduction?
Sure.
We wrote it a while ago. So we said, like, I'm your husband host, I'm your wife host, Gracious. We're glad you're here. That's like a thing that we say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I threw it in. I'm like, oh, that sounds nice. It finishes everything out. And I was thinking about it. And I'm like, does that have any significance? Does it have any meaning? And I'm like, yeah, I think it does. And in a lot of different ways. Hear me out.
Okay, I'm ready.
We're glad you're here, that like you found our podcast, you stumbled across it. If you're one of our family members who's been watching since the beginning, hi. If you're a friend, hi. And maybe you're not. Maybe you're from the internet, from the ether, and you came and stumbled.
Which
and
doesn't mean you can't be our friend.
Please be our friends. But, you know, like they stumbled and they stumbled across. We're glad that you're here mentally, that like you've decided to come share space with us and participate in conversations about theater. We're glad that you made the time in your life, you know, in the 365 days that you have in this year, you decided to take a smidgen of your time and spend it with us. We're glad. Yeah. I just like in all the ways.
We are glad.
Thanks for like for taking us in your car, or like thanks for letting us help you vacuum your rug or cook your dishes or take the dog on a walk. Whatever you're doing.
Did you just say cook your dishes?
I did say cook your dishes.
Oh, that is a thing though. Like cooking like making a dish.
Yeah, I was trying to say wash your dishes.
I just was absolutely thinking somebody's has their dishes on a pan and are just
baking them,
mixing them.
What did I say today?
Wow, we are all over the place today.
I tried to say killing and murder, and it was like you curdered him.
Yeah, curdered.
Yeah, I just had to leave the house after that and go touch grass for a little bit.
I'm out by.
I was so embarrassed. Anyways, so long story short, we're really glad you're here.
Thank you for coming. On a similar note, since you're sharing space with me, Jared, I would like to know how you're doing on a scale of melting to sparkling.
I have to drink my water first from my water bottle because I'm a big boy. I'm feeling boiled. On more than one account. One, I did just consume a very large, very hot bowl of ramen, which is now just sitting and simmering in my stomach.
Yum.
As we record this podcast. Work has been fine. It's been fine. Can I share a pet peeve with you?
You get one pet peeve.
Granted, this may be in my position as I work at the mental health office. I feel like people are so generic in their conversations. I feel like we're so generic in what we talk about. The quote that I have running over and over in my head, I need to grab my phone. It comes from this movie that like I saw a while back, Phenomenon. Have you seen this?
No.
With John Travolta.
I've never heard of that one.
So he plays his character George. George is a genius. Right. And so he's sitting down with some scientist, some psychologist, and he's trying to test him like, hey, if a guy is born on this date, how old is he? Mm-hmm. And John Travolta's character says this really famous line.
Well, let's get specific, Bob. I mean, if the guy's still alive, born in California, October 3rd, 1928, 10 p.m., he's 67 years, 9 months, 22 days, 14 hours, and 12 minutes. If he's born in New York, he's 3 hours older now, isn't he?
And so I've been going, like the past week, I've been going into work and talking with clients, with representatives, with support members, staff. And I'm like, no, let's be specific. Like I'll ask someone, how are you? And he's like, I'm good. You know, I've been working on myself. I'm like, yeah, how so? Oh, you know, no, I don't. Be specific. What have you specifically been doing since 9 a.m. when you got up this morning to improve yourself? 9 times out of 10, that means smoking weed. Which if that's what it takes, great, awesome, more power to you. But like, let's be specific.
Like at least to share what you're doing.
Right.
So that you know, well, I mean, in your case, as a case manager, you need to know the specifics in order to help connect them to the services that they need, right?
To work with.
So it's not very helpful if they say, yeah, I'm fine. Because what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
Or even, I mean, now granted, yesterday, like I was chatting with friends over Discord and they were incredibly specific.
Good.
So that was very fulfilling for me. But yeah, it's like my ongoing pet peeve right now of like, no, let's be specific. What's actually going on? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing? Tell me.
Okay.
So.
Well, now the pressure is on
boiled.
For my answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a scale of melting to sparkling, how are you feeling,
I'm feeling,
my dear?
My word is breathless today.
Ooh.
Because I'm taken aback and really excited for this episode because I don't know anything about this project that we're talking about.
True.
And I am also very, very excited for this weekend to get back into work. I've kind of been taken some time, not lots of time off, but I've taken days off here and there to go visit friends.
We went on vacation to Gettysburg.
We went on vacation to Gettysburg. I went to my friend's graduation the other week.
You did, and you left me all alone. I remember. I was so sad.
That was really fun and really fulfilling, but I'm excited to get back into work, but I'm also breathless because I just feel so tired. There's something about the weather. When it gets all rainy, I have a really hard time.
It has been raining non-stop.
For the last like 3-4 days, I've been, and it's silly that I'm still tired because I've been in bed most of the last 3 days.
Yeah.
I try to take a lot of time to rest and recover so that I can give my all at work.
Yeah.
But I'm still tired. So that's, because that leaves you a little breathless.
Can I tell you a secret?
My word is breathless. What?
Girl. No matter how you feel, I'm going to be with you all the way to the end. I got you, babe.
I got you, babe.
Shout out to our audience at home if you can name that song. I still think for Halloween that we should do
into
the microphone. Oh, all our poor listeners with headphones. I still think that for Halloween we should dress up as Sunny and Cher. Except that we're going to have to find a pair of stilettos so that you are taller than I am and I'm going to have to wear flats. So that I can be like 6 inches shorter.
I mean,
and have my little mustache.
Yeah. We'll just get some really tall heels.
Cool. I think it would be so fun.
I think it's really cute. You can get one of those little afros.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be all over it.
Yeah. Except if we're going to do that, I do need you to watch the Family Guy episode where Stewie dresses up as Cher and then his stuffed bear. Oh my gosh, I forget his name. Doesn't matter. Anyways, his stuffed bear comes to life as Sunny and tries to kill Brian.
Only if you watch the Sunny and Cher show with me.
Oh, we only watched the musical. We never actually watched the show itself. Deal.
Yeah. I've seen a couple episodes here and there.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
I know.
Doing all your research like a good, proper actress.
As I should.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Speaking of doing your research as an actor, would you like to research a play with me?
Oh my gosh, I would love to research a play with you.
Nice.
What play are we doing today?
Has our audience had a chance to guess what it is yet? Will they have had a chance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Well, then we're doing You Can't Take It With You, the play. By a comedy in 3 acts, as I look at my script, by Moss Hart and George S. Kaufman.
Yay. This is a pretty popular one. Like, I've heard of lots of people doing this.
Popular.
This is one that's very common.
Would you like to know how popular it is?
How popular?
I wrote a bit about it because it's so popular. Over the past 78 years, that's a 70 and an 8, my friends, the most popular plays performed within the United States as a nation have been consistently Our Town and You Can't Take It With You, according to our analysis.
Can we talk about how we decided to do those 2 plays?
Those two plays.
Without realizing.
Right.
Anywho.
So, why, you ask? Because most high school teachers need a big cast, lots of female roles, and something that won't scare your grandma. This play has been presented so often that we're talking about You Can't Take It With You. Has been presented so often that it's led to this cheeky 2008 photo caption, "You can't take it with you, but evidently you can perform it forever," over and over and over. Indeed, even into the 1980s, it was the most produced high school play in America, topping the list every year that decade, but one in 1982 when it fell just short of, you guessed it, Our Town.
That's wild.
Correct.
Actually.
So I will say, like, in the recent 2000s, it's dropping in popularity, and it's now like 6, 7, 8 on the list, but it's still there.
Okay.
So today we're gonna be talking about the things and the aspects and the themes that make it so popular.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan.
Okay. But before we talk about the show, we have to talk about the writers, because there's some funky cats, if you know what I mean. If you're spelling what I'm stepping in, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
PHAT.
Some fat cats. That's funny. Point for gracious. All right. Imagine New York City in the 1930s. Buzzing with jazz, electric lights, and the clatter of theater marquees announcing big names like Kaufman and Hart. These weren't just names, they were forces. Together, George S. Kaufman and Moss Hart would go on to create one of Broadway's most beloved plays. But before they made audiences laugh, they had their own stories to write. George S. Kaufman was a man
very
with
poetic, by the way.
Thank you. I wrote my heart out on this one.
Anyway, keep going.
George S. Kaufman was a man with a razor-sharp wit and a theater schedule as crowded as Times Square. He wasn't just a playwright, he was the playwright of his time. From World War I through the 1950s, it was said that every season on Broadway featured something he had touched, whether it was a script, a direction, or a satirical spark. Satirical? Nailed it.
Satirical spark.
What made Kaufman unique wasn't just his output, it was how much of it was born from collaboration. He was the master at bouncing ideas around, often with equally talented performers like Edna Ferber and Mark Connolly. But it was Moss Hart who became his most iconic co-writer. Together, they turned the chaos of American life into something hysterical and deeply human. Though Kaufman is remembered for the stage, he had another passion: bridge. Yes, the card game. He even wrote humor columns about it, folding his dry, clever voice into every hand. It's hard not to picture him in a smoke-filled Manhattan club, one eye on his cards and the other on a punchline forming in his head. And then there was the Pulitzer. Not one, but two. First for Of Thee I Sing in 1932, and again in 1937 with Hart for You Can't Take It With You. This wasn't just a funny play. It was theater that made people laugh at themselves and remember what really matters. You with me?
I'm with you.
Any questions about Kaufman?
He sounds like a cool guy.
A really cool guy.
I would love to bounce ideas around
right?
with him.
Check out that hair and glasses. Yeah.
He also has a cool looking face.
He does. Now, let's turn the spotlight to Moss Hart.
Who has very arched eyebrows.
Very.
It looks like
right?
he spent hours like tweezing him.
He probably did.
Him.
We should ask him. Born into poverty in the Bronx, Hart spent his boyhood sneaking into the theater, watching stories unfold on stage while dreaming up his own. His rise from hardship to Broadway stardom reads like one of the very plays he would go on to write. Hart's memoir, Act 1, captures it all: the struggle, the wonder, and the sheer madness of making theater. But long before that book would inspire generations of dramatists, he found himself at the side of none other than George Kaufman, forming one of the most electric partnerships in American playwriting. Together, they wrote shows such as Once in a Lifetime, The Man Who Came to Dinner, and of course, You Can't Take It With You, a play that would win them Pulitzer, and secure their place in the Theatrical Hall of Legends.
Hall of Legends.
But Hart wasn't just a writer. He became a revered director, too, and in 1956, he directed My Fair Lady, which became a blockbuster Broadway hit and is still remembered as one of the greatest musicals ever staged. Even after his death in 1961, Hart's impact continued to echo. In 1972, he was posthumously inducted into the American Theater Hall of Fame, an honor that acknowledged not just his scripts, but the spirit and soul he brought to the American stage.
Is the American Theater Hall of Fame actually a thing?
Would you like me to look it up? Or would you like to take my word for it?
I'm going to look it up. Because that's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's a big deal to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in quotation marks. Yeah. But if there is an actual Hall of Fame.
I'm pretty sure it's a thing. I'll reference it down below where you'll also find all the other links and references that I used.
It's in New York. Surprise, surprise. I mean, where else would it be?
Imagine if it's in like Oklahoma City.
Where else would it be?
You keep looking at that. You can't take it with... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
On Broadway at the Gershwin Theater was founded.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Nice. I feel like a lot of stuff happened at the Gershwin Theater.
Yeah.
You Can't Take It With You did not happen at the Gershwin Theater, though. It was at the Booth Theater in New York City. Monday night, December 14th, 1936. And for all you astrologists playing at home, correct. The moon phase was waning gibbous and was transitioning through Leo, thus giving the night flair, drama, and a spotlight on me energy, fitting for an opening night. Had to look that one up because I was curious. By the way, I've never asked, what astrology sign are you?
You've asked me that. I'm
not on this podcast.
I'm a Pisces, which means I'm just incredibly emotional.
Is that the fish?
Yeah, it's the two fish.
Oh, it's the two fish.
Yeah, they're friends.
Oh, always circling each other. Nice.
Yeah.
What are your fish named?
I don't know. I've never.
Well, let's be specific here, Bob.
And C's. Duh.
Ha! Jokes.
Hot jokes. What astrology sign are you?
Came for the drama, stayed for the comedy. I am a Libra. We are the scales of balance. Known for our logic, balance, and OCD.
Oh, well, good for you.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Someone who's super...
nitpicky, particular.
Yeah, someone who's super particular and someone who's super emotional. We're just meant for each other, aren't we?
A match made in heaven. Love you, babe.
I love you too, babe.
Cool. Want to talk about the show?
Of course I do. That's what I came here for.
Yeah. If I didn't say it already, You Can't Take It With You is a play. We're going to start with Act 1, as all good things should. It's a Wednesday evening. Gracious,
yes.
Would you care to read our opening bit for us and set the mood for our audience members?
To read our opening bit. The home of Martin Vanderhoff, just around the corner from Columbia University, but don't go looking for it. The room we see is what is customarily described as a living room, but in this house, the term is something of an understatement. The every man for himself room would be more like it. For here, meals are eaten, plays are written, snakes collected, ballet steps practiced, xylophones played, printing presses operated. If there were room enough, there would probably be ice skating. In short, the brood presided over by Martin Vanderhoff goes on about the business of living in the fullest sense of the word. From Grandpa Vanderhoff down, they are individualists. This is a house where you do as you like, and no questions asked.
Do you ever miss old writing?
Yeah.
Like the language style of like the 1930s or 50s? I think it's so fun.
It's very fun. It's very matter of fact and kind of tongue in cheek. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I'm a fan. I've been trying to practice my job. Mm-hmm. My streetmosphere job, where I'm on the train as someone from the 1920s. I've been trying to practice my 1920s 30s speech. It's hard. It's a skill that I have not yet learned very well.
Yeah. The only voice
it's very clever.
I know of that time period is like the stereotypical announcer voice. that you always hear like in any black and white TV show or radio. And there we see Billy collecting metal in his red card for the war effort.
The transatlantic
Way to go,
accent.
Billy.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like very
overbearing,
over exemplified. And it was one guy, one dude narrated every film, every radio station. It was the same guy.
No, I think it was 5 different guys who all copied one guy.
Gotcha. They're like all brothers.
They're all.
It's like,
they're
hey,
all
we're the
brothers.
Tony brothers.
And
We're your announcer. Way to go, Billy. I digress.
I love it. Those like radio. Have you ever listened to any of those radio plays from that era?
Too many of them.
So fun.
Oh, by the way, You Can't Take It With You was a radio play at one point.
Nuh-uh.
Because I was looking through the script. I'm like, what is this script? And I rolled to the top. It's like, You Can't Take It With You, a radio play.
Oh, cool.
Except there's like different, the characters had different names. And obviously the script was different. It was much more descriptive.
Oh, I'm sure.
Of like, Penny's walking through the door. Penny.
Yeah, because there would be a narrator instead of just stage directions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so that exists as well. It was also turned into a film. Very good. It's been done several times, both professionally and in every high school, college, regional theater. It's all been done.
After this, I'm going to have to watch a production of it because I didn't go into this knowing anything. So I'm excited. But let's go back to this individualistic home.
Yeah.
Living room.
Yeah.
Area.
I included a picture for you for reference of what
that
the stage
does in
might
fact
look
look
like.
Chaotic and
Quite
also very fun.
Eccentric. Imagine a lot of dark oak wood everywhere. Plastered in every doohickey gadget and thingamabob.
Lots of different colors and patterns with the curtains and the tablecloth and the rugs and the pictures on the walls. Yeah, it's very fun.
Say, of every production that I've ever seen, it's always very vibrant on stage, never a dull moment.
That's awesome. Is it based typically in realism the way that this one is?
In all the productions that I've seen, it's usually done in a realistic
type set, like it actually looks like a living room.
And the acting and the speech, it's all very much set in realism.
Cool.
So very much you feel like you're just watching someone in their home.
Awesome. That's very fun.
Yeah.
And good to know.
All right, folks, listen up. Mrs. Penelope Sycamore, or Penny, as she'll be known throughout the rest of the show, sits at a rickety card table, pounding away at a typewriter, eating candies out of a plaster of Paris skull, which is normally used as an ashtray. She, Penny, is a round little woman in her early 50s, comfortable looking, gentle, homey. Because she enjoys companionship, of course, there are 2 little kittens on the table on top of her papers.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell them that we found little kittens at the railroad today?
Yes.
Yeah, there are 3 of them, and they just are backstage, and I think a couple people are taking them home. And I know it's not important to the story, but they're so cute.
They're really cute.
And if you weren't allergic to cats, I would have taken one.
Your boy's heck allergic.
But they were so sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw pictures in the chat. They're really
cute. I love them.
The cutest of kittens.
I love them. Our little railroad kittens.
We'll go to learn that Penny is the mother of the family, and did I already say that she's typing up a play? She's typing up a play on her typewriter.
Very nice.
Yeah, she's a prolific writer.
Said pounding away at a typewriter.
I did. She's writing plays. She's writing plays specifically, and she has multiple in progress.
Great.
Emerging from the kitchen is Essie Carmichael, or just Essie, as we'll know her. Essie is Penny's eldest daughter. She comes bounding into the front room, lots of energy. A girl of about 29, very slight, a curious air of the pixie about her. She's wearing ballet slippers. In fact, she wears them throughout the play.
Ooh, so this is similar to, it's giving me Louisa vibes from the Fantastics. Yeah.
If I had seen the Fantastics, this is where I would say yes. But I have not, and so I'm going to say, what?
Great. Awesome. Curious air of the pixie. That's so fun.
Gracious, were you ever a dancer?
Oh, was I? Let me tell you the story of how Gracious was a dancer.
Please do.
When Gracious was like 3 years old, she just tripped all the time and would fall on her face everywhere. Would just be walking down the road Wapow! Face on the pavement. Like, she could not figure out her 2 feet.
Sure.
So Gracious's mom goes, you know what would be great for little Grace? A dance class. Put me in dance class because I could not walk. And then I could walk. And now I can walk because I was put in dance. But that's as much as I can say I can do. I am a strong mover.
I was going to ask, like, if you're in an audition, what would you classify
I'm a strong mover. Yeah. If I were to say I was a triple threat, dance is definitely the last one. The goal is to be a triple threat. And I think I can get there because I'm not bad at dancing.
I agree. As someone who dances with you, you're not the worst person.
I can pick up on choreography pretty quick and I can do it pretty gracefully.
But it's something that you have to work at.
But it's something that I have to work at.
It doesn't come naturally.
Yeah. So it would, that would be the last of my triple threat things. But yeah. But because of dance, I can now walk. So that's good.
I'm super proud of you.
I don't trip as much. I only trip like once a week instead of 5 times a day. So I call that a win.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Although ballet slippers, iconic, and I would wear them all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Essie begins the dialogue of the show by talking about how hot the kitchen is on that day. And despite her best efforts, she cannot get the candies that she is making in the kitchen to cool down, but is adamant that her mother needs to try them.
Well, her mother seems to like candy because she's eating candy already.
By the dozen. Essie exits back to the kitchen as Reba emerges, an African-American maid and cook to the Sycamore family. She's treated almost like a part of the family. She's dating Donald, who handles odd jobs with a smile. Donald. We'll meet him later, though. In the words of Mrs. Sycamore, the two of them are really cute together, something like Porgy and Bess. I want to insert a little blurb about these characters, if I may.
Yes.
I was doing some research, and dramatist.com had a really excellent blurb to say about these characters. Would you be willing to read it for us?
I would love to read it. In 1937, Moss Hart and George S. Kaufman, the authors of You Can't Take It With You, wrote the characters of Reba and Donald to be played by black actors as black characters. It was extremely rare back then for African-American characters to appear on stage in a comedy, and practically unheard of for African Americans to be so enthusiastically embraced by a white family. One might say Hart and Kaufman were progressive for their time, and indeed, both men were thoughtful advocates against intolerance in their day.
Thank you so much.
See, can I just point out something that's very interesting? It is interesting because they are progressive for their time, but the African American characters at this point are still servants.
Correct.
Which really just, I mean, it puts them in their time period, right? This is the 30s. So it's the way that things were. But
sure.
Like, maybe the more progressive idea would be to write about them as people. As people,
right? And just have them be characters.
Right. But so this is even before the civil rights movement or anything. So I know that it's... Mm-hmm. I recognize that they're you have to take little baby steps in the right direction before you're actually in the right direction, but
sure.
But
the good news is those baby steps are in fact being taken even today.
That's true.
I read through a fantastic column online between theater directors on callboard.com regarding these characters and how they address the racist undertones associated with these characters. Some people wanted to perform the show, but they're like, how do I get around it? And so some of the suggestions being brought up, a lot of colorblind acting and casting going on, along with meaningful discussions with the cast members about like, this is the historical context, this is what was going on, and this is how we're going to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I do think that plays of this time are important. Like, they still should be played and they still should be shown because we need to know what was going on in our history. Yeah. It's just important to know the context and to recognize that that was wrong. Because I think that the issue would be if you're just playing it as but like without addressing the concerns. You know what I
mean? One other thing, I think it's linked in the show notes down below, and I don't know why I didn't include it here. A alternative version of the script was written. There's a bit that's a little like on the nose racist.
Oh, dang.
And there's an alternative version that was written that could be included, and I think it's now included with the scripts. Like if you purchase the script, it's there, and you can use that version if you would like. Someone was talking about how they had a blast. They casted 2 actors who played them as like Irish immigrants. And had fun with the accent, with the character, and incorporating it that way. So the option is there if you want.
I do love the idea of colorblind casting, and I think that's important. My whole like final paper, it was like a 20-page paper that I wrote in college, was on colorblind casting.
Oh, nice.
So I have lots of background to that, but it's just an important thing to remember that like race isn't everything, but it was a big step in this time to even
have them included.
Correct. African American characters. Like that was a big deal. But we're better than that now. So I'm glad that they've included that non-racist version, and that they encourage discussions, open discussions, and colorblind casting.
100%.
So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for going on that little tangent with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Reba and Donald.
Correct.
Are the 2 servants.
Yep.
Great.
Suddenly, Paul Sycamore emerges from the basement. Paul is mid-50s, but with a kind of youthful air, if you catch what I'm saying. His quiet charm and mild manner are distinctly engaging. He is carrying a frying pan containing several small firecrackers. He is smoking a cigarette. We learned that Paul has been holed up in the basement building fireworks with his assistant, Mr. DePenna, a former iceman who just never really left the house.
Sorry, a former iceman? Like
a person who brings ice to your house.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Who never really left the house.
Yeah. Yep. And never really stopped being a part of it. He talks excitedly about the new blue and gold fireworks they've just created and shares that he'll be adding them to the collection they'll be selling this year, citing that they'll most likely need a bigger booth. I don't know why I didn't write it. Paul is husband to Penny. So they're the mother and father. Well, you did say
Paul Sycamore, so I guess I
Hey, good job.
But yeah, Paul
You're
and Penny
paying attention.
Sycamore.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
I mean, I don't know anything about this, so I have to pay attention.
Fair enough. Yeah, so they're the mom and dad of the family. Did I paint an accurate picture for you?
You did. I particularly like that they're building fireworks in the basement.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And that there's this guy that just is there.
Yeah. The description for Mr. DePenna is like, it's just like bald and eccentric.
Bald and eccentric. That's so
And that's
fun.
all they give for Mr. DePenna. So, yeah. Which I don't even think we ever learn his real name, because in the script it just says DePenna.
Mr. DePenna. It doesn't give him a first name ever.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's funny.
So we'll never know. Mr. DePenna, what's your name? Let me know. Drop it in the comments down below. Reba begins to set the table for dinner, and it is here that we learn of another one of Penny's daughters, Alice. Alice is off working her office job, although, for some reason, they've only seen her for one night this week. As Reba is talking, explosions keep sounding off in the basement, though no one seems to mind. And Reba determines to set the table for 8 people, although we've only met 4 of the dinner guests thus far. As if summoned by the setting of the table, Ed Carmichael bounds down the stairs and makes his way straight to the large xylophone in the room. Ed is the resident musician in the household. And husband to Essie.
Great, because they both have the same last name.
There you go.
Also, funny that they have the same first letter of the first names for the couples. Paul and Penny and Ed and Essie.
You know, as someone who's been working on this script for the past 2 weeks, I did not notice that.
That's cutie.
You're very observant.
I don't know if that continues, but...
Let's find out. As he begins to play and converse with the family, Essie dances along to the music.
Xylophone. You said that. Xylophone.
Oh, yeah.
Even better.
Because remember, this is a quirky family.
Yeah, of course.
And she shares her dream of becoming a ballerina. though her grace is not her strong suit. She twirls through the house with wild abandon. She chats with Ed about printing some labels for her candies because, oh, yeah, by the way, he also prints labels and quirky slogans on his own press, regardless of what they mean or what anyone says. The quirkiness of this family really cannot be overstated. I included a little tidbit for you that I'll read. So this is just like a snippet of a conversation that's had at one point in the first act where Penny says, "Ed, dear." So like she doesn't even look at them. She's just typing on her typewriter, right? And says, "Ed, dear, why don't you and Essie have a baby? I was thinking about it the other day." Ed says, "What about it, Essie? Do you want to have a baby?" And Essie responds, "Oh, I don't care. I'm willing to if Grandpa is." And off into the kitchen she runs to check on her candies. And this kind of quippy, quirky, weird, just like, what?
And like you're not quite sure what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's all in good fun. Like, out of context, you're like, wow, that's really inappropriate to just tell someone that they should have a baby, right? But in context, like, it's just quirky and weird and keeps you on your toes. You never know what's coming next. So anyways, I just wanted to like share that with everybody. So just keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the show. Because the other thing is I cover maybe like 10% of the play. There is so much that goes on, so many conversations that are had, so many topics that get touched on. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
I imagine for the actors to like have to cover all the topics.
But just know, I'm assuming not every single topic is particularly important.
Not all of equal importance.
Yeah.
Correct. Some are more than others.
So maybe highlighting, like going through your script and figuring out which of your lines are important to the story and which aren't.
Which one are just beats and which ones are the important events of the play. Dinner is just about ready, and Ed discusses the menu with Reba so that he can print it.
Print the menu.
Reba shares that tonight's cuisine will consist of cornflakes, watermelon, candies, provided by Essie, and some kind of meat, although Reba forgets what kind.
A well-balanced meal.
As if we haven't said it enough, the Sycamores live authentically, each pursuing what brings them joy, however impractical or eccentric. I do think this is fun because it allows opportunity for audience members to recognize their own dreams within the family as they watch the zaniness ensue on stage.
Kind of gives them the freedom to express themselves because if these people are this crazy, that means I can be. Yeah. Like if these people are going to eat cornflakes, watermelon candies, and some kind of meat for dinner, why can't I? I'm an adult. I can do what I want.
Do you remember when our good friend, we were chatting with her and she shared that some days the weight of being an adult weighs down on her, and then she remembers that she's an adult and that means that she can eat cake for dinner.
She can eat cake for dinner. She can start a fire if she wants.
If you want to. Yeah, because you're an adult.
Yeah.
Live your
light
best
a candle. Start a fire in your fire. I mean, you could start your house on fire. Wouldn't suggest that.
Would not
but
suggest
just the idea that I'm an adult. I can actually do what I want. And I think we forget that is the case a lot of the time because adulthood is hard and we're like, we have so many responsibilities. But hey, I can go buy a chocolate cake at the store and eat the whole thing by myself.
The whole thing.
I do have to suffer the consequences of that action.
Of course.
However, no one's telling me no.
Free will at its finest.
Free will at its finest.
Can I just nerd out for a second with you?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay. Have a psychology degree. Got to put it to good use. So this leads us to the topic of perfectionism within America, right? The pursuits of being perfect. I'm going to make the claim, and you are allowed to agree or disagree with me, that social media has exploded this dynamic of we should always be seen as perfect and never less than. right? Got to have the newest car, the newest iPhone, got to be wearing like all the new fads in clothing and design. Never less. Anyway, I can go on a tangent. There's a dude. His name's Leon Festering. Yep. And he has Festinger. Is that how you would say it? That's how. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
He has a theory, social comparison theory, and it explains how people evaluate themselves by comparing themselves to others. Nowadays, people are constantly bombarded with filtered, curated snapshots of each other and their lives, their bodies, their activities, their income. And this can often lead to or create feelings of chronic dissatisfaction, appearance anxiety, being afraid of being seen as less than, a sense of not being enough, and then a fear of missing out, just regular old FOMO, right? I don't know. I think it's very prevalent in our society today. So how refreshing to then see the opposite being presented, right? People who do not care what you say about them. They are going to do what they want to do, the way that they want to do it at the time.
Right.
With wild abandon. I think that's really fun and really liberating. And I think it needs to be screamed from the rooftops.
Yeah.
There's a place for organization and professionalism, but like in your own home.
Oh, absolutely not. In your living room.
That's not called for. Live your best life. Be who you want to be. Did I miss anything on that topic?
I think you said it beautifully.
Thank you.
I could not think of any words.
My nerd fest is over.
Well, thank you.
Shall we continue?
We shall.
Finally, and with relief, the patriarch of the family arrives, Grandpa Martin Vanderhoff, who is only referred to as Grandpa in the entirety of the show. He's about 75, a wiry little man whom the years have treated very kindly. His face is youthful, despite the lines that sear it. His eyes are very much alive. He is a man who made his peace with the world long, long ago, and his whole attitude and manner are quietly persuasive of this. He shares that he has just returned from a commencement at Columbia University just down the road and cites that it was a big class this year, almost 2 acres worth, and the speeches were funnier than they were the year before. Man's just attending graduation, although he has nothing to do with it.
Oh, he doesn't?
Hey, no, I was just listening because that was entertainment for him, I guess.
Yeah.
Essie tells Grandpa Vanderhoff that some letters have arrived for him from the United States governments, but she misplaced them and doesn't know where they ended up. The sound of the outer door closes, and Alice Sycamore enters the room.
Oh, Alice.
A lovely, fresh young girl of about 22. She is plainly Grandpa's granddaughter, but there is something that sets her apart from the rest of the family. For one thing, she is in daily contact with the world. In addition, she seems to have escaped the tinge of mild insanity that pervades the rest of the family. But she is a Sycamore for all that, and her devotion and love for them are plainly apparent. At the moment, she is in a small, nervous flutter, but she's doing her best to conceal it. The calm, such as it is disrupted when Alice returns home with big news. She's in love with Tony Kirby, the son of her boss, and he's coming by for a date. Naturally, the family is thrilled.
Ooh.
Right? The doorbell rings, and Penny answers the door and greets the man standing there, thinking that he must be Tony. But the man clarifies that he is a tax investigator named Wilbur C. Henderson. And he is investigating Grandpa for his evasion in income tax.
Oh, well, that's probably what those letters were about, huh?
That's probably what those letters were. When Henderson asked Grandpa why he owed 24 years of back income tax, Grandpa states he, quote, never believed in it, and that the government wouldn't know what to do with the money if he did pay it, close quote. Henderson becomes infuriated by Grandpa's answers to his questions. Then he spots Grandpa's pet snakes and runs out the house in fear, but not before promising Grandpa that he will hear, one way or another, from the United States government.
Oh, scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever evaded income tax?
When I was a kid, yeah.
What? You mean when you were 6 years old, you
Yeah.
didn't pay your taxes?
I didn't.
Gracious.
I know.
I
know,
thought
I'm the worst.
I don't even know you anymore.
No, I've actually been a very stout income taxpayer.
Yeah.
Even as a self-employed woman, which sucks, by the way. You owe so many taxes when you're self-employed.
When it's just 1099s.
Like, yeah, it's not fun.
I'm really proud of you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I wish I were more like Grandpa.
Yeah.
Just evading income tax because I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
That's the dream. That's the idea. It was probably their dream too, which is why they wrote about it. Anyway, what happens next?
Again, the doorbell rings. Finally, the real Tony Kirby arrives.
Tony Kirby.
Tony is a personable young man, not long out of Yale, and as we will presently learn, even more recently out of Cambridge. Although he fits all the physical requirements of a boss's son, his face has something of the idealist in it. All in all, a very nice young man. Tony is introduced with all the ceremony of a royal visit. Airs are put on, niceties exchanged, and every compliment lands with the soft thud of polite insincerity. We learn through conversation that Tony is an accomplished graduate, is currently vice president of his father's company at Wall Street.
Very fancy.
And that he is very humble. When asked if he even has a salary, he responds with, well, a little. More than I'm worth, I'm afraid.
Cutie.
And it is at this moment in the show, folks, I have to tell you, I was privileged in my junior year at high school to play the role, the role of the character of Tony Kirby.
Of course you were.
In my junior year.
Of course you did. Why didn't you play Grandpa?
Alas, I could not. Grandpa was already taken by my best friend.
Oh.
And he played Grandpa Vanderhoff.
That's very fun.
And did it very well, might I add. Very convincingly.
Of course you played the ingenue, though.
I know.
Would.
Typical. A white man. And what did security do about it?
Nothing.
Typical. Love you, new girl. Anyways, so yeah, it was fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
I assumed once you said.
And that's it, folks. Thanks for joining the show.
That's all we need to know.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Gracious. It's easy to see why Alice fell in love with Tony in the first place.
Oh, because he's dashingly handsome.
Hey. Hate the game, not the player. However, Alice is mortified that Tony might judge her unconventional family. Just as they prepare to leave, Essie's over-the-top Russian ballet teacher, Mr. Kolenkov, bursts through the front door and launches into complaints about the Russian Revolution. Because, of course he does. Who else? Amidst this whirlwind, Tony and Alice escape for their date, and the family sits down to dine, talking about how nice it'll be to have Tony in the family when he marries Alice. I'm going to keep going. There are just a ton of characters that come through this show. So, anyways, like Mr. Kolenkov frequently has open conversations. I just don't have time for it, so we're going to keep trucking forward. But I promise that they're all important and they all play a piece in this. They're all a piece of the puzzle in this masterpiece.
It's one of those
of
kind
show.
of ensemble type shows where
sure. Oh, yeah,
there are a bunch of different little roles. Cool.
We're going to fast forward a little bit. And folks, you're welcome to roll up your shirt sleeves, loosen those shoe straps, because later that night, Tony and Alice return, and they are deeply in love. And very cute, might I add. Very cute couple. But their intimacy is interrupted by the various members of the Vanderhoff-Sycamore family drifting through the house doing their usual things. Despite it all, Tony and Alice eventually become engaged and make plans regarding their wedding. Tony bids her goodnight, leaving Alice alone downstairs with her thoughts. Her heart heavy with the ache of love and embarrassment, torn between two worlds she cannot reconcile.
Aww.
Then, softly, gently, the room is bathed in a warm, flickering glow. Mr. DePenna turns down the lights as Alice's father, Paul, exhibits his latest firework creation. Not a bang.
In the house.
Not a bang, not a blaze. Just a steady, simmering red fire, glowing like a heartbeat in the dark. It spills across Alice's face, painting her features in a crimson light, and for a moment, she doesn't move. The chaos, the new engagement, the impossible choices, they all fall away. What remains is this: the quiet genius of her father's joy, the fire of creativity that runs through this house like a current. It is absurd. It is beautiful. And that wraps up Act 1.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a very sweet moment.
Sweet.
Very well done. Thoughts up to this point, Gracious? Any
I
comments, questions, or concerns?
I love the chaos. I'm all into it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this sounds so fun to stage and to figure out where all the moving pieces go.
Yeah. I think we discussed this briefly. If I looked through my script, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages of props that are used, that are listed in the script. It is extensive. These people are busy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And like you said, the chaos is just everywhere. But it's really fun. You should never be bored when you watch this play. Yeah. I to its credit, it also features, like you said, a large ensemble. Most plays, especially like older ones, focus on like a few central characters, right? That is not the case here. There's a role for everyone. Yeah. So it's a great option.
I mean, it still focuses, it looks like, on this one family, but...
Right.
But I assume, like, what you're saying is that a lot of these ensemble roles have, like, a significant effect. Or, like, yeah, it's a whole... Well, and it sounds like there's so many different storylines happening that they just add to the chaos and they add to the absurdity of
with each
the
person
show.
Being a distinct character.
Right.
Never do they ever blend in or
like,
mesh
you
with someone
definitely
else.
have time to really make your character yours.
Yeah. So just to rehash really quick so that you're on board, we have Penny. She is the
mother. And she writes. She's a playwright.
Correct. Married to
Paul, Penny and Paul. And Paul is obviously Penny's husband and the dad, and invents fireworks.
Correct. Then we have Essie.
Essie is the older daughter, and she wants to be a ballet dancer.
Correct.
And she makes candies.
Married to
Ed, who is like her husband, and the musician who plays the xylophone.
Correct. Well done. Reba
is one of the servants. She's the cook primarily, right?
Yes. And
Donald.
Yeah. The
other...
I think we just call him like the helper.
The helper,
the
other
like
servant.
Helper. He just does
butler.
odd tasks.
Something like that.
Less than a butler.
Less than a butler, boo. But the helper.
Yeah.
Cute.
Martin
Vanderhoff. That's the grandpa.
Yeah. He collects snakes. I think that's like primarily his thing. He also just talks a lot and gives advice,
he doesn't believe in paying his income tax. He doesn't believe in
paying his taxes. And then, do you remember who Henderson is?
Well, based on the order that you put these in, I'm going to assume that he's the IRS agent.
He is.
Okay.
Correct. Obviously, you know Alice. Which, by the way, if it hasn't already been said, you'd be a phenomenal Alice.
Thank you.
Yeah, she is.
I think I'd want to play Essie. That sounds more fun anyway.
Essie's very fun. My sister played Essie.
Oh, really?
So,
That's so
we
cute.
had a blast.
That's fun.
Yeah. The daughter, the Juliet character to Tony.
Alice and Tony.
Yeah. Who's the son of the Kirbys.
Yeah.
Tony Kirby. Our resident Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe Mr. DePina?
He's the ice maker that never left.
Mm.
Oh, and he helps the dad.
Correct.
Paul.
Yeah.
With his
And
fireworks.
Kolinkov?
Kolinkov is the Russian dance instructor.
Darn straight.
Right?
Don't you forget it.
He just bursts in the door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? We still have more characters to meet.
Oh, I believe you.
Unfortunately, we are completely out of time. So we're going to need to wrap this puppy up, send everyone on their way. But thanks for joining me. I think we've said this before. And if not, we're going to say it again 100 times. Any of the research that we do for these shows will be posted down below in our show notes. So if you ever want to do some research and some learning for yourselves, you're welcome to do so. If you're ever questioning where Jared gets his resources from, you're also allowed to check those out and figure out if I'm telling the truth or not. So do what makes you happy. Live your best life. Don't let anybody stop you. If you enjoyed what we had to say, give us a like.
If you enjoy what we're making, give us a follow.
If you think that what we have to say could be enjoyable for someone else, like a little someone special in your life, because what holiday are we coming up on? I don't even know. I don't know when these episodes
Memorial
go out,
Day.
Man. Memorial Day?
If
there's someone you want to memorialize, give us a share. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
We hope that you will join us next week because... Ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it. This is a two-parter because we really like talking about our plays. In the meantime, we know some of you have auditions, rehearsals, or performances. So please go do something in the sunshine and
go on a walk, you bum.
and
break
a leg. Woot woot.
Actually, if you have any critiques, please don't give them to me. Be nice about it. I'm very fragile and I will cry.